Hello and welcome to Console Shock, episode 23. We're back again with more retro and modern gaming chat. It's me, Trev, and I'm with Stu. Hi, Stu.
Hey guys, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Oh, very well, very well.
Any interesting shop stories today?
Not today, actually. It's been quite good in the shop, actually, in the last few weeks, so that's been very good. Oh, we got a lovely retro haul at the weekend. I'm going to tell you this, but you can't buy it. We've got in Fire Emblem on the GameCube, and Malcolm, he snapped at that one straight away.
He's a big. Is he a Fire Emblem fan, or is he just like GameCube?
I think he's a bit more of a collector, really, than an actual fanboy of the Fire Emblem games. But we got like Persona 3, Persona 4 in really nice condition. We got in.
It's getting up there, isn't it? The old GameCube. For talking of which, that's it's kind of flown under the radar, isn't it, of Nintendo? Collecting stuff.
I'll be honest with you, there's only about 4 or 5 games on it that are really, they're difficult to find, but nothing's really difficult to find. It's just, okay, well, I'll have to buy that for 90 quid. Okay, fair enough. And everything else, you can pretty much find most things. I don't think there's anything too difficult to say. Someone's probably screaming out, going, what about that one? Or
the Zelda promotional disc?
But we've had the promotional disc. We get it in every few months.
Yeah, there's millions of them.
You could buy 10 of them. It's not like Lakers versus Celtics, or Celtic versus Rangers or anything.
Or Los Angeles Lakers versus Rangers.
Yeah, Glasgow Rangers.
Yeah.
What else we got in, actually? Talking about the Amiga, we got in the Amiga CD32. A nice box.
Bloody didn't.
We did.
Get it out of town. Malcolm had that as well.
Yeah, we had that in. And,
did Malcolm get that as well?
Actually, I brought this big collection off someone, and hopefully they're not listening, but it's quite a funny story.
Stu, wait a minute. Wait. Make sure if Malcolm bought it, tell him the Amiga CD32 is not a GameCube game. It's a console.
Well, I'm sure he knows that because Malcolm has a very good knowledge of computer games.
Cool.
But anyway,
I
bought this massive collection of stuff from someone, and I went to their house and bought all this stuff, had a quick look through it, tested a few items, and I took it home. Next day, took it all into the shop, dropped it all off there, and Dan said, "Don't worry. Over the next few days, I'll go through everything, put it all on Facebook, price it all up." I said, "Great." And Dan did a great job putting it all online. And then he goes, he messaged me, "Stuart, did you put a load of porn in here?" I was like, What are you talking about?
What?
And he sent me all these photos, and one of the Master System games was chocked full, stuffed full of all these porn films on on DVD. Can you believe it?
System game? You mean the box?
Yeah, so it didn't even have the bloody Master System game in it. It was all stuffed full with adult-rated material.
Fucking hell! So but you sold that anyway.
Malcolm bought it.
Pornland.
Malcolm had it. Malcolm had it.
You told him it was some kind of special edition JRPG for the Master System, released only in Japan.
That's right. I did actually buy
porn or something.
I went to Japan. What was it? Last year, and I thought, I'll get Malcolm something. So I went into all these secondhand video game shops, and they had what's it? Akibra 48, AK-48, something like that, some sort of girl band, and it was on the PSP, and there was like millions of all these different discs they had for the PSP there. So I bought him one, and it cost the equivalent of about 70 pence. And I thought, Malcolm will really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's actually well chuffed for it because he likes all his...
Shoot, if you were a real friend and you wanted to get a hardcore collector like Malcolm, something really obscure, niche, that make all the other collectors jealous. You should have got him a copy of FIFA 08 on the GameCube, or FIFA 08 on the Wii. The Wii, yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe. But are you trying to turn it back to the subject we're actually meant to be talking about here?
No, I was just trying to make a joke.
You're rambling.
We did get an insight. You get a bit of an insight there, though, Stu, into your shady dealings, getting games in from porn sellers.
Porn sellers.
What was it? You turned up at a bloke's house, took some Master System games home, and there was porn.
Yeah. He actually runs an ice cream float, an ice cream truck.
Ice cream float.
An ice cream, yeah. So
wow. So there you go. There's behind the scenes of playing games.
Yeah. So
did you get any good?
So anyway, I've got Malcolm.
Did you get good comments on the Facebook?
He was really happy with it. Facebook?
Yeah, the comments. You always get the comments.
Phone's off. Phone's off. Hello.
Wait a sec. I declined it. That's one disadvantage of using Hangouts on your computer. Is, you know what? I don't find that functionality useful at all. Where do you have a Mac?
No, I have. I've got an Adele. I'm always chasing papers with it.
I'm going to have to put this in airplane mode now. I'm so damn popular, I get people phoning me. Yeah, there's this thing, if you've got a Mac and you've got an iPhone and they're both sort of hooked up to your iCloud or something or other, I'm not sure what it is. If your phone goes off, it will kind of ring on your computer as well.
That's useful, isn't it?
I don't find that useful. I don't find that useful. I'm sure there's some...
You don't get that on my PC?
No, I guess you don't.
Gates, complain.
Windows all the way, mate. Windows all the way.
Yeah.
You can ignore people on the phone all day in front of a Windows PC.
Exactly.
Anyway, you were saying Malcolm
AK-48. I got him and he really liked it. He was well chuffed with it.
We've got to get this guy on the show, haven't we? We've spoken about him in a clandestine way.
I have to apologise. I always give Malcolm a hard time, but he's such a nice guy. Knows loads about computer games, and I'm sorry, Malcolm, if you're listening, for always giving you a hard time.
You'll definitely give him a hard time if you're getting him porn on the Master System porn.
Yes. Yeah.
See what I did there? Double entendre there. Yeah.
That's right.
It's another podcast, isn't it? Sega-based porn. Although,
he's off to America. He's off to Florida this week.
Is he?
Yeah.
We need to keep. We should have like a little schedule on on the Console Shop Facebook of what Malcolm is up to.
Where is Malcolm
at the moment? Yeah. So, as we advertised earlier on ye old Facebook, we're going to talk about a certain Nintendo console that's
the Wii U
in its death throes. I think, isn't it? It's fair to say. As far as I know, there is only 2 games coming out this year for it that are currently advertisers coming out. Do you know what they are?
Do you know what? I think I do know, so I'm going to have a sort of bit of an educated guess. It's going to be something like maybe a Just Dance game, maybe a drive-in, a farming simulator. I think it's a farming simulator, or maybe it's going to be something like that. That's just going to.
Whoa! Shoot! Are you implying that all the Wii U gets is shovelware?
No. There is a little bit of shovelware on there, but there's not a lot of shovelware on there.
It's not Wii level, is it?
No. There is some shovelware on there, but compared to the Wii, I think a good 80% of no, that's wrong. A good 50% of the games were shovelware. Where on the Wii U, I don't know, maybe it's 20 or 30% of shovelware.
I think on the Wii it was like 90%, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, I think
it was a couple of thousand games. Most of them, I think, were the best ones were the Nintendo games, and they can't account for more than.
That's it. It's obviously a Nintendo game. But I remember I watched this video on YouTube about Wii shovelware, and they showed this game. I think it was over here. It's called Ninja Bread Man or something. And then it was released about 4 or 5 different times. It was the same game, maybe all around the world. It was or it was released 2 or 3 times. Basically the same game, but just with a different skin on it. It was Ninja Bread Man, then it was something else, and that was terrible.
That just sums it up, doesn't it? But yeah, the 2 games, as far as I can tell, are Darksiders War Mastered Edition.
Right.
Comes out in a couple of weeks. And Cars and Disney's Cars 3, which comes out shortly after that. You're probably right. I reckon there'll probably be one more Just Dance. Maybe.
They still bring out Just Dance on the Wii.
There was a funny... Yeah, it's actually amazing because I was watching a chap called Adam Koralik, who does some...
I watch him. I know that guy.
Yeah, and he was doing I was watching a video. It's actually not a new one, but it's one from a while ago, like a Wii U, sort of 3 or 4 years on the video. And Just Dance 2017 came out on the Switch, the Wii, and the Wii U. So it spanned all 3 of those generations, which is I can't think of a game, certainly not in the last 15, 20 years, that did that.
No. But from their point of view, from Ubisoft's point of view, it probably, it's just a case of, okay, let's just put it on that. It's dead simple. So they've all got very similar sort of architecture and...
So what you like about it, but for something like a Wii, that would be a big seller. Not so much maybe Wii U, but there's people that probably still use their Wii. They dig it out, once a year just to do their Just Dance. And that's it. Can't people just buy 360 for Call of Duty?
The Wii is something if you're about 10 or 11 and you've got to stay with your grandmother for a weekend, and you go there and all there is to do is play on a Wii, and because that's all they've got there. It's that type of machine. That's when it gets played.
I think to understand the Wii U. And we need to understand the Wii, really, don't we? Because that kind of set the Wii U up to fail, I think. Because you had the GameCube, which is a very underrated console. Has quite a small library, not that much bigger than the Dreamcast, really. I don't want to go into too much detail because I'm sure we'll have a GameCube episode. But it's not that much bigger than the Dreamcast, but it has a very high quality library, and it was actually a little bit better than the N64s. I think there was a lot more third-party games, which there wasn't many of. It was almost like Nintendo and Rare was what the N64 was. And then that was the last, I think. Can you say the Switches for hardcore gamers? I think the GameCube was the last console that, from the outset, was for core gamers. You could argue that the Wii U is, but
when the GameCube came out, it was actually more powerful than the PlayStation 2. They made a console that came out that was more powerful than the market-leading machine.
It was kind of in the middle, wasn't it? The Xbox was the most powerful.
Yeah.
And then the game.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And then the PS2 was sort of last. So there wasn't that much between the 3 of them, was there? I think what summed it up, if you play Resident Evil 4 on the PS2, it's not that great. Frame rate wise and graphics wise, they had to dial it down. I think they could have made a better version for the PS2. I think they just rushed it, and that's why it's not quite so good. But when you put the GameCube version is a lot better. But the trouble with the GameCube is it had terrible storage capacity on the discs, and that kind of screwed them up a bit.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, then they brought out the Wii, and we all had that moment where we played the old Wii Sports, the bowling, I think, is the one that did it for me. And it was like, wow, this is great. This is going to revolutionise everything. I mean, that's where most people played for their first experience, I think, isn't it, of the Wii, was the Wii Sports.
That's right, yeah. That was a system seller. I think it's Wii Sports is down as almost like one of the best-selling games of all time.
I think it is. I think I think Super Mario Bros is second, I think.
Yeah, I think it was bundled with every machine for about 5 years, and then they had to release it on its own. And yeah, it was the Wii did have a lot of good games. I think we both agree on the Wii. I didn't get one till very late in its generation, and I wasn't very impressed with it. I didn't like the motion controls.
Yeah, I was always. I had friends that had them, and I played them, but it was just I never enjoyed it enough to buy one. It was just like we've already said, there was a ton of shovelware. Lots of games have tacked on motion controls, and I think the thing that really kills it is you don't have to do the genuine kind of action of throwing a bowling ball or swinging a golf club or swinging a baseball bat to actually do the action in the game. You can sit on your ass in your sofa, waving your arm around in a kind of a semi-specific way, in any direction, and that will basically do the action you've got to do in the game, and that kind of kills it. But yeah, you've got the Nintendo first-party games, but there wasn't really. I wasn't compelled to get them. I mean, even Super Mario Galaxy didn't appeal to me. I've been waiting for a sequel to Super Mario 64. Which they still haven't done, really. Sunshine was
maybe that was, yeah.
But even that was quite a bit different. That and to be honest, the whole mopping up paint or whatever it was thing, which they've kind of brought back with Splatoon. I found that really irritating in Mario Sunshine. I just wanted to do a level, complete a funny little task and get a star at the end. But they haven't really done that since. And Galaxy was this weird where you jump between planets and stuff. And it's probably blasphemy to some people, but I haven't really played either of them because they just didn't appeal to me.
I mean, the same here. It was. I think there's. You think I never felt I had enough control over the motion control. I always found it quite cumbersome to use, and they never made to me enough about having a proper controller. So making it, and I always thought it was a very underpowerful, not powerful enough console. And it was what I was going to say earlier. It's basically a GameCube with motion control and a slightly, faster processor and a little bit more memory. Yeah. It's there's not a lot more powerful than the actual GameCube, and you play
the GameCube. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. And at the same time, I was playing the Xbox 360 games, putting them into my HD TV, and I emphasised the HD, and I was going, oh wow, these are amazing. Oh, I'm playing against 16 other people. Going. I've been blown away by the graphics here, and the immense storyline and things like that. And that's what I was really being taken back with. But with the Wii, I found, I've got to use an AV cable. Oh, God, it all looks a little bit mushy and a little bit, the picture doesn't look great. And
you got a very poor, composite video image that was very soft, and it just looked a bit shit.
Exactly. And the games at that point in my life that I wanted to be playing were, first-person shooters, third-person action games, or football games. And what's the point in playing FIFA on the Wii? It's got a far, the controller is not half as good as the Xbox is, and it's not as good, and it's not the system they're making the main game for. So,
you basically got the PS2 FIFA, wasn't it? Just with reskin.
You got the PS2 with all the up-to-date characters, players, but I don't know.
There was just no comparison really to the Xbox version on the PS4, the PS3.
In my opinion, there were some pretty good games on there. I want to say Mario Kart and some real innovative games, like
even then I preferred the GameCube versions. Twilight Princess was better on the GameCube. I know it was I think it was only 4:3, and it was kind of flipped compared to the Wii version. But I'd rather play it on that. I've got a proper controller. I know you can get a controller.
I've got a copy on both, and I certainly rather play it on the GameCube because you can use an actual proper controller. But saying that though, towards the end of its life cycle, I did buy Skyward Sword, and I thought, right, I'm going to play this. I'm going to enjoy it, and that was actually a very good game, and it uses the Motion Plus, which I think they solved a lot of the problems where it actually gave you true movement with the control, and to me that was okay. That was a good game. I didn't finish it in the end, to be honest, but there was a hell of a lot. It did look better than you can actually see that this is a pretty good game here, and they pushed the machine to its maximum. You've got an engrossing storyline and everything else.
There were some I remember there was Wii versions of Call of Duty, and actually Black Ops is literally the same campaign as the 360. It's just in kind of weird 480p, chunkier looking graphics. They even tried to recreate all the cutscenes in it and everything. But even then, you're still using the stupid. Even plugging in, I know you could plug in a classic controller or even a GameCube pad. But that was clunky. I mean, if it was a GameCube pad, you'd have to get a humongous cord extender for it. Presumably, it's going to be sitting away from it because by then we'd been, we're used to wireless controllers. And even if you use the classic controller, you've got to plug it into a Wiimote, and just launching a game, you can't just sit and just do it. You've got to point at the screen with the thing, and it's just it just didn't do anything for me, and it sold like insane, and it absolutely destroyed.
I mean, I've got the figure here. The sales figure is 101 million copies. 101.63 million units were shipped, and the best-selling game was Wii Sports with 82 million copies.
I think a lot of them were pack in as well, but
that's true. But it says here Mario Kart was 36 million copies of Mario Kart, and that's a phenomenal amount.
I think they're the only two games that people played on it because everyone would get Mario Kart is always a fun game. I think it's the most popular Mario game now. Generally, I know people that won't touch Super Mario 3D World or New Super Mario Brothers. All they know of Mario is Mario Kart. And I think the best one's 64. I still don't think 8's good. Well, they're all good. They don't make a bad one.
They're all really good. They're all amazing games. I mean, I've got my favourites, and I don't know, Mario Kart 8 at the moment I'm really loving that. Mario Kart 64, I used to love playing that all the time. Do you know what? I wasn't really a mega fan of the Super Nintendo one.
No, neither was I. I mean, it seemed, it was all right, but now people fall over themselves saying how amazing it was. Well, I don't think it became a really good game. Again, this is probably blasphemy to some people until Mario Kart 64. And I remember at the time that reading reviews and even CVG and all that, they were like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of cool to have an updated version, but it's not as good as the Super Nintendo version." But now I see more and more people say that's the best one. Because I remember I used to say to people, "Oh yeah, my favourite one's 64." And they'd be like, "Oh, no, that was rubbish compared to the Super Nintendo version." Now everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, that was the best one. That was my favourite. I still prefer to go back to that." And when I fire up an emulator, if I ever play an old Mario Kart game, I don't do Double Dash. I don't play Wii. I don't play DS. It's 64 that I play. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just the track design, the balance of the characters, and even the graphics are kind of cool. I just keep going back to it. I think they've been better than that. I would love to get a remake of that, but I guess you could just say they tend to.
They've sort of done that anyway. A lot of the tracks are on Mario Kart 8 and goes, in 64. So to make an actual remake of that, I can't see them doing that really.
Game, no. Yeah, so there was obviously well the thing with the Wii that I think the sales as well, they kind of dived after about probably 2010, I would say.
That's
That
right. It was
everyone who wanted one got one. No one was buying games for them really, because they got this. A lot of people think would just get the Wii Sports and that's it.
things like New Super Mario Brothers. That I remember that did very well, and things like the Just Dance and the shovelware almost took over with My Little Baby Cooking Mama. Oh, let's be a nurse, or let's be a doctor, let's be this, let's be that. And we got this joke product in the shop, which I remember taking in, and it came in. It was I think it's called Baby Mama or not Cooking Baby. Anyway, the whole idea is that you stick the Wii remote in the back of this cuddly toy of baby, which comes in it. You put the game in, and then one of the games will be, oh, you got to rock the baby to sleep. Oh, no, the baby's crying. Oh, you got to rock it a bit more. Oh, no, you've dropped the baby. Oh, now dance with the baby. And it's, oh, my God, it's just drivel. It's just games for, well, I'll say drivel, but I'm sure if you're a 4-year-old girl and, you want to play it and, let's play with a baby or whatever, I'm sure they're going to love it. But
that doesn't help, does it? Those seeing those games on the shelves, you're not going to take it seriously.
Yeah, that's right. So, I mean, if we move on to the Wii U, that's why I genuinely got excited when the Wii U was announced. I thought, wow, it's coming out with a proper controller. Okay, it had a great big screen on it, but wow, it's a proper controller with analog sticks and left triggers and right triggers. Brilliant. That's what I want. So I was genuinely...
The thing is that, the building up to it, there were rumours that it was going to be, we're going back to like GameCube, core gamers. It's going to be, we're going to tone down the motion control stuff, and we're going to be back with you guys. It's going to be like the old days. And then when they announced it, I can't remember what it would have been like earlier in 2011, I guess. And I think the video would have been like, I'm trying to look at the history of it now. I think it would have been E3 2011, yeah. And I remember the video, and the thing that stopped me, there was this, it looked the same as a Wii, and I think the problem was the name. It's still called, I think Wii is a terrible name to this day.
It was exactly, yeah.
And to call it Wii U didn't help. They should just call it something different. And I remember the one thing that stuck with me in the presentation video was it was some kind of Ninja Star game where we used the gamepad to flick the Ninja Stars at the screen, or there was golf where you kind of use the Wii U pad, the gamepad with the screen in it to line up your shot, and also using that as an aiming thing as well. And that just was, they're just doing it again. So I was pretty underwhelmed.
Because the problem is, it looks just like the original Wii. I'm looking at the white one now. It looks just like the original Wii. It's got the Wii in the title, and then the Wii U. So there was. I'll be honest with you. I completely understood what it was. It was another machine. But then I'm someone who follows the industry very closely, and I'm involved with it, and I'm great interest. So I understand. Oh, it's a new console. Oh, brilliant! It's this. It's this. It's that. It's that. But then other people aren't going to. They can go, oh, it's the Wii U. Oh, you just need this, or you need that for your current Wii, and they couldn't quite get their head around actually. Sort of, basically, Nintendo really fucked up the marketing of the product.
I think people thought it was an accessory to the current Wii.
Exactly, and they didn't get that across well enough. Is because actually, I guess we're going to this a little bit further. I really like the Wii U, and there's some great games on it, and. I think it's a great machine for not for doing brilliant games at 1080p and competing with the PS4, like, you know, performance-wise, actually game-wise, the actual core Nintendo titles are absolutely 10 out of 10. They're really good games and some of the best experiences I've had probably in the last few years of, you know, good fun games. But yeah, they just really, they didn't get that message of actually what are you buying here? What is it, and what's it meant to do? And, you know, who are we selling this at? It was just...
Yeah, I mean, I've sort of said that, you know, I think the Wii's crap, and I still do. But the Wii U, I really, really like, and I actually actively sort of collect for it now because it's going to become a very collectible system because it's sold in such small numbers. And I think people were burned by the Wii, and also the people that bought the Wii and accounted for a huge chunk of that 100 million aren't really gamers. I guess hardcore gamers, like, you know, most people are gamers these days. You're playing a dual matching game on your phone, you're a gamer. But the ones that, you know, the grannies that bought that for Wii Sports and all that stuff, they aren't going to necessarily be bothered about a follow up to it. So that audience was never going to buy a sequel. And the people that were into games and are probably now completely Xbox or PlayStation wouldn't buy a sequel either. So it was kind of the Wii, despite being successful, it actually kind of set the Wii U up to fail because because of its reputation as being a super casual, you know, games machine that you have to be a hardcore Nintendo fan to be into. And it was only really the hardcore Nintendo fans that bought the Wii U. I mean, I'm a Nintendo fan. Although initially I thought it was crap. I mean, I played like... I had a mate who got it like within a matter of days of or the day it came out, and I think I played it a couple of weeks after that, or a week after that. And I played Nintendo Land, and I was like, it's all right. I was impressed by the gamepad. I like the idea straight away of being able to play a game off the TV without, because that's an issue, isn't it? If you're in a house with, well, if you just, you don't have to be like with kids or anything, you could just be with your girlfriend or wife. And, you know, you don't necessarily have a man cave. You just have like your TV in your living room. And, you know, obviously your girlfriend or wife wants to watch something on that, or boyfriend or whatever, husband, and you want to be able to carry on playing your game. You could do that with the Wii U. I think if not all Wii U games support that. So you can carry on playing a game on the gamepad, and that was really cool. And I did that a lot with mine. And it's really, and you look at the gamepad and it looks really unwieldy, but it's really comfortable. It fits in your hand just as, obviously it's bigger and it's, you know, it's a little bit chunkier, but it's comfortable.
My only complaint about the the Wii U pad.
Yeah.
I want to hear myself. The only problem I found is the right analog stick is in the wrong place. They put it above the action buttons, and it should be below the action buttons.
Yeah, they did that on the controller, the Pro controller as well.
Yeah, it's absolutely different from every other console that's ever been.
That's kind of funny, isn't it? Because we started off, the whole two analog sticks thing started with the PlayStation, the PS1, the analog, the dual analog.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That had two that were just adjacent, and I remember at the time thinking that was very comfortable. And when I play a PlayStation 3 or a 4, I don't really sit there. It is, if you go straight from a 360 pad or a Xbox pad straight to a PS pad, you do notice it then, like, oh, this is a bit awkward. But I'm not sitting there playing a PS3 thinking, oh, damn, I really need these analog sticks to be opposite each other. I think it's when you're playing FPSs. I think they're the only game where that's a problem, really. And even then, it's okay. It's not like a deal breaker.
I was really going into detail here, but I found that my left thumb is, if you want to reload or do an action or do something, your thumb will come off it and go up, and to press the A, the B, the X, the square, the whatever button. But with the Wii U, your fingers got to go the opposite direction. And they might go, oh, actually, this is a much better system, and we actually get more control over the game. Yeah, you do. That might be the case. I'm not arguing that. But the point is, I'm not used to it. And they're just trying to You know,
Well, that is the default now. Basically, the Xbox 360 pad is, I think, the best pad of all time.
I agree. Yeah, the Xbox One's very good. You know, saying that the PS4 pad is that's also really good, and but the Wii U pads, they really let themselves down a little bit by just trying to be too clever with the analog stick locations.
I remember playing the original Xbox, and I remember getting that massive control. I friggin' love that controller.
The Duke.
I've got a couple of them, yeah. I've got the S controller as well, which is brilliant. Apart from the stupid idea of not having two L and an L1 and an R1 and an L2 and R1 or L1. It's a weird black and white button thing. But anyway, I actually thought that was. I remember holding that pad and playing a game. I thought that was weird having the pads offset sticks like that. It was an interesting decision, and now obviously that's the default now. But at the time, obviously, my experience up until everybody's experience up until that point of an analog stick will either have been an N64 one, which is a good pad. I think a lot of people hate them. Hate the N64 pad because people think, oh, it's just made for Super Mario 64, and that's it. It works fine with most games. Maybe not fighting games, but there wasn't that many really on the N64. But anyway, that's another discussion. For example, was the PlayStation controller, because I think the GameCube had offset sticks, didn't it, as well, I think. And that was a very good controller as well.
Pad, that was the same as like the Xbox or something, yeah.
Another Dreamcast
stick, which was lower down. It was just the local. Anyway, what I was impressed with, and I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, was you know how many good games there were on the Wii U that I really enjoyed, and I've brought up on my screen here sort of the best-selling games on the Wii U, and I just want to read through them, and you might notice a theme here. Okay, so the best-selling game. Notice the theme: Mario Kart 8, New Super Mario Brothers U.
Wait! Are they all Sonic?
No. Is there a Sonic one? No, there's not. That's I thought there might be one.
Oh, someone was sensing the theme there, but you know.
Yeah. Super Mario 3D World, Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, Nintendo Land, Splatoon, Super Mario Maker, New Super Luigi U, Legends of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Mario Party 10.
Wait, I can guess the next one. Is it NBA 2K13?
It's not, no.
Damn.
It is Wii Party U, Yoshi's Woolly World, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Hyrule Warriors, and Pokken Tournament. So pretty much all of those games are made by Nintendo, maybe not Hyrule Warriors, and it just goes to show that I think that's a real sort of quality lineup. But of course, you know, you don't just want Nintendo titles. You want a bit of everything, don't you? When it comes to the system, you want to get the latest Call of Duty. You want to get an up-to-date FIFA. Well,
you got a bit of that, didn't you? For up until 2014, I mean, we got a couple of Call of Duties. That's right, yeah. The same ones that are on the 360. It wasn't a weird baby version like the Wii got. And you got one FIFA, which is the only modern collectible FIFA there's ever going to be, because it was the only one that came out for the Wii U. I've seen people slab them as well. FIFA 13.
Slab?
Getting them
slab?
Yeah, when you put it, where you get it VGA'd, or what the video game rating.
Oh, God.
Thingy. People like getting them VGA'd. Yeah. I mean, it's like £5. Or so I got it for like £1 or something.
I think I got mine for about £4. Yeah, not a lot.
And that was like sealed. That was sealed. People couldn't give them away at one point, but now they've got it's like £5, not much, but for a FIFA game, that anything other than the current year is like 50p, pretty much. That is the only collectible one. Then you got NBA 2K, you got 13, and then you got but the couple of the Batman Arkham games. They didn't tend to run as good, but they often ended up kind of last out of the HD twins, the PS3 and the 360 and the Wii. But I'm not sure. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, 'cause it's underpowered." I don't think it was. I just don't think the developers were used to it because it had more RAM than a 360.
Well, that's it.
The graphics was a bit better. Yeah.
2 points is first. I remember I used to, Rich from Review Tech USA, and he always used to play Black Ops 2 on his, when he's talking about the news and talking about Anita Sarkeesian has just said something, and he could always play Smash Brothers, Call of Duty, Black Ops 2, and he would always play the Wii U version because it's got more power, it's a better version. And apparently it's not really, but it's all right. I thought it was good. But I was watching this video.
Is Eurogamer. The Digital Foundry did a lot of Wii U comparisons to the 360 version of something. They're great.
True. And I think they compared it very recently against the Xbox One upscale, and they said it's better than the Wii U one, and they almost said the Wii U one was the weakest. And I was like, oh, well, it looks all right to me. I can't always tell. So, but I watched another video recently, and there was a guy analysing it. And actually, let me go back to the Wii U. Now, the actual main processor is the...
is this the Green Ham Gaming dude, the Aussie dude? He looks about 12.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Yeah, he's cool.
And he did... the actual processor is a 1.24 gigahertz tri-core IBM PowerPC Espresso. Now, he described that. That's based on the architecture from, I think, 1998.
Yeah, and I think it's been
and I was like, what?
The clock
from 1990? Are you kidding me? So, to me, it's like, why on earth did Nintendo use the architecture, the power from a processor from 1998?
So I'm not sure. I mean, that's kind of, I think the way you sort of said that is a little bit misleading. I think that it's PowerPC. So PowerPC processors, they are made famous in, I think he says this in a video by Max.
Yeah.
There was a big thing where Max would use PowerPC chips and PCs used Intel. And at the time, for up until like about the mid-2000s, PowerPC chips shat all over Intel chips. You can look up on YouTube like Macworld, the big Apple Mac event. It's kind of not these days really, but back in the day it was kind of a huge thing. Well, it's still kind of a huge thing, but more so then. And they would do like direct comparisons of like Photoshop rendering, like putting a filter on a picture on a Mac next to a PC version of Photoshop. And even though the PowerPC chip in the Mac was lower clock speed, so it'd be like, sort of a 700 megahertz PowerPC versus a 1 gigahertz Pentium 4. And the Mac would completely smoke the PC. And Nintendo put the same PowerPC, like G3 chip in the GameCube, and it was the first console to use PowerPC, although I guess the Apple Pippin, that really obscure, weird Apple console from the late 90s had one. But yeah, and Nintendo then used that. They just boosted up the clock a little bit and popped that in the Wii. And then they kind of, I don't know if they did this or if they got IBM to do it, or the guys that kind of, there's three, Motorola and IBM and Apple both made PowerPC processors. And I think they maybe got them to like boost it up again and put a couple of extra cores in it to make like the Wii U processor. So it's not literally a chip that's from 1998. The origin of it is from. It's like saying, oh yeah, the Intel processor in the Xbox One, that's from 1974 because that was the first Intel, whatever year it was.
Yeah,
it's not quite like that, but yeah, But it wasn't. It might not have been the best idea. I think they did it just to keep backwards compatibility with the Wii.
I mean, part of my argument is, and I love the Wii. I think it's a great machine. Some amazing games on there. They managed to use it really well, and I just think it was a whole as a bottleneck. And I just think if they'd actually gone out and gone, okay, let's try and make a machine and let's try and make it really powerful. They knew that the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One were coming out in a year or two after their machine. And they really just thought, okay, let's try and make it, pretty much as good as the Xbox 360. And, okay, it's got a bit more RAM in there, but realistically, it's got very similar performance as the Xbox 360. All of those games that I love playing on the Wii U could easily be played on the Xbox 360 or the PlayStation 3. I'm not a hardware guy, but that's that's my opinion.
And a lot of the time, the 360 version ran better anyway, which is funny for a console that's quite a few years.
Yeah, I think they're probably a lot better, a lot more used to using it. But I think the reason why, even with sort of an upgraded but still quite old Power PC, it's got an AMD Radeon processor, sort of graphics in there, so that does a lot of the actual, I don't know, the big grunt of the processing. Because games like Mario Kart 8, which is actually the best-selling game on the Wii U, I mean, to me, it performed flawlessly.
Basically, any of the first-party Nintendo games look bloody great, and I think
they knew.
There was a funny period in 2014 where there was more 1080p games on the Wii U than there was on the Xbox One. I think you had Zelda, Wind Waker HD. I think Smash was 1080p. So yeah, it was actually Nintendo knew how to utilize that power.
Well, I think the games when on the everything on the 360 was going for had to look hyper realistic, loads of textures on everything. When on the Nintendo games, they'll set in really colourful, bright worlds, which looked amazing. But actually, if you delve deep into them, they didn't have to have the same grunt of power to perform, really, because they didn't have all the textures, or they had a lot lower textures. And that just led to really good performance of the games. They could get them at 1080p, they could get them at 60 frames a second. Because
there were some good examples, though, of I think, sorry, jumped in on you there, but Need for Speed Most Wanted, that was actually quite good on the Wii. In fact, that actually is better on the Wii. That's the best version, is the Wii U. They actually it has better texture filtering. I think the frame rate's a bit steady. Again, there's a Digital Foundry comparison. So that proved that even if third parties really got to know it, you could make things that would run better on the Wii U.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, that's a game actually. It's on my list of games I want to get. These Need for Speed Most Wanted, because I always liked it was made from the same people who did Burnout Paradise, and I absolutely loved Burnout Paradise. So
same sort of thing. Yeah,
I'll go back and get that at some point.
Yeah, that's it. But the Wii U is a really good. Also, the Vita has a quite a good version of it, which is pretty much the same as the consoles.
I do have that actually. I do own
quite collectible as well. It tends to sort of kept around 20 odd quid. For, when my other Need for Speeds are like peanuts now, they're kind of like the FIFA of racing, aren't they? Sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, later on, you got you got Assassin's Creed as well, and they ran it more like the 360 version. But you didn't buy a Wii U. I mean, to play those sort of games. It wasn't until I didn't get one until 2014, I don't think, or late 2013, or a Wii U.
I got one when Mario Kart came out.
Yeah, well, I got mine before then, because I felt like I was the only person that had one. And then all of a sudden, when Mario Kart came out, it got a huge boost in sales. Came out as well, wasn't it? I think that was a big boost then. And it's a shame that a lot of people are just going to miss out on their system. But I think Nintendo were the architects of their own downfall a little bit. And I don't think that's going to happen with the Switch, but yeah, ultimately, I think it was the Wii that sealed its fate, sort of thing.
And to talk about the Wii U and sort of how popular it is. In my shop, we don't have them anymore. Actually, they've gone to the Heart of Gaming, which just opened up in Croydon. Which Trev, you and me have got to go down there.
Is that the arcade place?
Yeah, basically, it's £10. I'm doing an advert here for him. £10, and you get unlimited, free playing on all the arcade machines. But
that was somewhere else, wasn't it? At one point,
it used to be Acton, but they moved it to Croydon.
Or something.
Yeah, I think something like the landlord just put the rent up, quite a lot. But anyway, the point of my story is that they run a night there for Smash Brothers on the Wii U, and it's amazing to see because we used to run it in our shop upstairs. But, we always have to do it on a Saturday night. Someone used to stay there late. And it was always a little bit of pain because we're always so tired after working there all day. Now, loads of these guys will turn up with their Wii U's. They'll all have their GameCube pads. And they'll all sit there all night playing Smash Brothers. And and you see how, into it they are and how much they enjoy it. And it's just unbelievable. It really is.
You got a couple of fighting games on the Wii. You got Tekken got like a special Wii U edition, which is quite cool.
Tekken, and you've also got another very popular game with a niche crowd is the Pokken Tournament, which is sort of Pokemon based on the sort of the Tekken world. I think you got an Injustice game as well, but the one that really caught everyone's imagination was Smash Brothers, and that's people don't quite realise how big a sort of following that game had.
I think it's nearly as popular as people that just like Nintendo generally, and just play Smash and Mario Kart. They don't touch the platformers really, but they were great as well. I mean, I got mine with the main pack that was available then was with New Super Mario Bros. Wii U or New Super Mario Bros. U. That's great. It's rock hard, but it's really great. Mario 3D World. I mean, like that sort of Christmas 2013 period, the Wii U had the best lineup of games, better than because all the PS4 just come out and the Xbox One just come out, but they just had basically Call of Duty and the latest Need for Speed or whatever and Assassin's Creed. But you could get those games on the previous gen consoles at that point, and the resolution was a bit lower, but your average person isn't going to be bothered about that. Whereas the Wii U, they were genuinely unique, like Wind Waker for the. I mean, a lot of people probably missed out on that with the GameCube, and on the Wii U, you got like a really nice 1080p, 60 frames a second remake. That's hell of a lot cheaper than. Actually, the discs are interesting as well. Because have you ever noticed that they're a little bit sort of thicker and have rounder edges than? I
haven't. No.
Yeah, if you have a look, grab like a Wii U disc and compare it just to a PlayStation game or just any kind of Blu-ray, and it's a little bit thicker and it's got slightly rounded, softer edges, which make it nice, easy to handle.
Right.
I think they were just Blu-rays though. But kind of slightly messed around with the way they're manufactured and the file structure, so they can't just be put in a Blu-ray, PC drive or something.
And then copied. Yeah,
they bloody love that, don't they? Nintendo making weird, storage formats.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want obviously people to hack your systems. Apparently, you can hack them now, but you don't.
Want to treat with the GameCube. But you can you can chip those, can't you? Because they kind of can play those
now, and you have to get a separate. You have to get a replacement case or something because obviously DVDs don't fit in it.
Can't you use those small ones? Can you use those because there's like kind of small form factor DVDs, isn't there?
Well, yeah. I mean, I remember people used to use mini CDs, but they would hold so little. It was almost it was pointless. But I mean, I wouldn't. I haven't really looked into the GameCube and actually.
I think you can put SD cards in it now. I think some people are liking that you could do it with the Dreamcast.
Yeah, all I'd be interested, to be honest, is maybe making it region free, and I think that'd be really cool. to get your GameCube region free. But you know,
So you can finally play Winning 11-6 Final Evolution without a freeloader.
Yeah, I've got
That's
that
the
game
dream,
actually.
isn't it?
Yeah, just put it all
People
in.
imported the crap out of that.
I did. I remember
Back in
buying
the
that for £60.
Well, it's the only way you could play Pro Evo, wasn't it? Because that's the only Pro Evo game that came out for the GameCube.
Exactly.
Tragedy.
The other thing that was really sort of very, very, actually, I would say really, really successful about the Wii U, which is not really talked about, is the Amiibos.
Yeah, that was a weird. That came very late though, didn't it?
They
not really
did
late.
Sell an absolute bucket load.
Yeah, and that was just fanboy like bait, isn't it? If you're a Nintendo fanboy, to release little figures of your favorite characters, you just know people were gonna. As soon as that was announced, I was like, "Yeah, people are just gonna go absolutely mental over that." Nintendo fans are gonna. I've never bought one, and I actually did turn my nose up to them a little bit. It was just like just Skylander, you know. That whole Skylanders thing is amazing. How everybody just jumped all over it when they realised how kids like go mental over it. And I turned my nose up to it a little bit, and I was like, stupid. But now I do see their appeal as cool little figures, you know, and they do unlock. I think they sort of unlock stuff, don't they? They kind of let you get DLC.
I actually felt a little bit disappointed because I bought the Zelda one. And I thought, oh, brilliant! Now I can play, and it was, and I couldn't quite understand what I was meant to do with it because I had Smash Brothers, and you get your Zelda character and you pop it on there, and then one of the characters you play against is Zelda, and then he will level up, so you'll have whenever you touch it on there, you'll have Zelda, and he'll just get a bit better each time. I thought, well, can't I just choose to play against Zelda, or? And I couldn't quite get my head round. Oh, that's quite useful. Right, okay, yeah, good feature, I suppose.
It might have been better if it was literally something like you unlocked a track in like Mario Kart 8 that you can't get otherwise. Maybe people get annoyed at that, wouldn't they? They'd be like, "Oh, that's just on disc, like DLC or something." I think for the most part, it's just unlocking costumes, isn't it, and kind of little tidbits.
Yeah, that's right. And I think with the new Zelda, if you've got the actual Zelda figures, it unlocks. You know, you can get special swords and stuff, which is all useful. And it's the case of, well, if you get one of these figures, you can lose it in lots of different games to unlock certain things. Okay, that's useful. And there are nice little well-made figures.
I remember like the red Lara Croft Xbox 360 controller. If you bought that, obviously, you know, you get a cool sort of controller, but it came with a download code to get like a couple of costumes and some extra like weapons or something. So you actually got a bit of extra value from buying a physical bit of hardware. And I think that was quite cool. So I guess because Nintendo wanted to be careful, I think, like I said, they're worried that people might criticize them if they would put things on a game that you can only unlock if like big things like, you know, special levels and tracks, because by spending an extra £10 on a figure. So they probably could only, to avoid any kind of backlash, they probably did keep it as little trinket things. But then you kind of like, oh really? You know, that's all I get. But I think it's really more for the figure, really, isn't it? It's kind of why. And I don't think, do people get them because they're gagging to get unlock a costume, a lot of people, or something?
No, yeah, I was going to say, I agree with you. People did buy them for the figures, and they wanted to get all of them. And Nintendo were very good at, you know, those little gold Marios, and you couldn't buy them in, you know, My Shop or Game. You could only get them at Toys R Us. But then there was another one that you could only get at Game, and you know, the deliveries would come in, and you know, they'll get 10, you know, Kirby's. You know, 20.
Oh, good old Nintendo withholding stock.
Yeah, and then they'll give you one of the rare one. Now, you know, anyone that works in that shop is going, oh, I'll buy that for myself. And they'll get first dibs on it. And lots of them never actually got out onto the shelves. And
you get scalped on eBay then.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe I would have done the same thing. I don't know. But the point is, Nintendo sort of made it so, these were really sort of these special ones, and And to me,
I'm pretty sure they sold better than way more of those sold than would ever actually have been used for a Wii U game. I think it would have just been little kids really that would have get it, rip open the box.
Some people
they
wanted to buy all of them, or they want to get all the from the ones they liked, and I think they probably, I don't know how many they sold.
I think it's people our age that actually buy them that are Nintendo fans, because I don't really think kids that were the age that we were when we first got into Nintendo, 9, 10. They're not going to be buying. They're not going to be really Nintendo fans. They're going to be their Nintendo is Sony and Microsoft. They're sort of characters that they think are cool, kind of mascot things are Nathan Drake and the Master Chief. And to them, Nintendo's probably some ew, Nintendo. That's just for babies, I see kids with Mario kind of T-shirts and stuff. But I actually think they must be just genuine, just Nintendo fans. They're not necessarily, because Nintendo are kind of the Disney of games, not in terms of popularity these days. I do like to tell people, especially people that are in their early 20s and teens now, they probably have never grown up in an era where Nintendo were mainstream, which is kind of crazy to think that. Isn't it? I mean, I was I go on a few retro game collecting forums, and I remember reading people. There's a thread of new to the forum, post your say hello, and the amount of people now that are on there saying, oh yeah, PS2 was my first console. I was 10 and I was so excited to get it. And even people that are Xbox 360 was my first. It was the first console I had my own money to go out and buy. And I was already well into my 20s when they came out. So to them, Nintendo really, it's embarrassing. But to them, they would never have. Nintendo would have always have been the Wii. But even then that was just the weird granny console that their gran played for to play the silly sports games. They would never have been. Well, I think the last Nintendo console. I think the GameCube's a good console. I think the N64 was, but is the Super Nintendo. Probably then the Game Boy.
We're missing a whole point here. Is with Nintendo, is a lot of people are, they're growing up playing the DS and the 3DS and the Game Boy Advance. So I think a lot of people have maybe associated with Nintendo more with
handhelds.
Make great handheld games. So I think and they've always loved those games. So I don't think there's as much of an issue of people, not knowing about these games in the future and not wanting to go back and play them as much. But I certainly get your point there.
Well, I think the Switch is going to basically make or break them. I think this is their last. I don't think they've got another console in them after this. But I think it will do well enough. I think they need to drop the 2DS, 3DS. They need to drop that within the next year and focus 100 billion% on the Switch. I think they need to make it a bit cheaper. They need to put it under 200 quid for that to hit the mainstream of kids that would buy a DS and grown-ups that are who will probably already have maybe an Xbox and are happy to get another console that will be their portable one.
I actually think, talking about how making it cheaper, I've said this before, they should actually bring out a Switch portable. Now, okay, it's portable already. Yeah, I know that. It's portable already, but then it's also £279. And
a lot of people say that's ridiculous, but I think that's a great idea. You would keep the regular one as the premium one.
Yeah, imagine if it came out with, so it's basically like a tablet, and fixed permanently to the sides are the two Wii remotes, or the Wii, what are they called? The two controllers, Joy-Cons. They're fixed to each side. So the whole idea is, and if that comes out with the next Pokemon game, wow,
it would just go ape shit. Yeah,
and that's for 149, and then or 180 with Pokemon, Sun and Moon 2. People are going to go, I've got to get that. And then it's got a touch screen, it's got great graphics, it's already got a great library with Zelda, with Mario Kart, and people would absolutely jump on that.
And I think if they a good scenario and a realistic scenario that I can see is if tons of these to sell, and we're getting a bit of that already. You'll hopefully will get like Activision will be like, you know what, yeah, let's whack a couple of Call of Duties on there. It might not be the mainstream Call of Duty. They'll make like a sort of a unique version for the for the Switch, but it'll be a Call of Duty or heaven forbid Rockstar like, yeah, you know what, we can't ignore the Switch. Just too many fucking people have one. We have to make a Grand Theft Auto. Maybe they'll do GTA 5 Switch edition, which would be cool because you'd be like, oh my god, I can play like GTA 5 on a proper full-on version on the Switch. Even if like 6 is coming out for like or they could call it something else like San Andreas Stories or something. That'd still be cool. People would buy a Switch to play those sort of things. If they can get those guys back on board, that will be able to set them up for their next console, where maybe those guys will be like, yeah, you know what, we're going to support you now from day one,
Because and also another thing that I've just thought about is that if they did come with this sort of portable system, and online is very important. So the whole idea, if you actually put a SIM card in it and it actually had 4G support, so it will be the first console where you can actually play Call of Duty, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart, all these great games online when you're sitting on the bus.
Yeah, and it's an experience that's close to what real, not like DS where you got baby versions, like genuinely for real.
Exactly, because I'm really looking forward to the next Splatoon game because that's basically a first-person shooter, but I can play that laying in bed. I can play that, if I ever go to a hotel, I can play that. Loads of different places where you've got internet access and you can play that online. You can get into your own little world. Things like what's it called, Monster Hunter. Wow!
I think you could also developers could tap into their the library of games that they made for the previous generation and make couldn't be a handheld version. Like it'd be great if Sega did like the Dreamcast collection, but for the Switch. So you got like Crazy Taxi. Sega Bass Fishing, Space Channel 5, Choo Choo Rocket, all the best Dreamcast games on like a compilation.
I wouldn't be surprised if they come to the online shop, but maybe they might do. Yeah,
it'd be great if you got a physical. It doesn't really matter, does it? Really, it'd be good if you got a physical release for people like us who like to collect them, but. Something like that, and then maybe the other guys can look back at the Capcom bring out like Resident Evil 4, Switch edition. Although that was an older generation than last, but that would be great. And because that's because people would then buy the Switch to play those old games that are still kind of restricted to digging out your PS2 or digging out or getting a Sony PlayStation Network store download. Which is still restricted to a console, or even Yakuza or something. That would be great. I think that's where I think they should try and get developers to make that. They could almost be like to Ubisoft or something. You know what? We know we're not looking for you to make the next Assassin's Creed, but maybe could you guys do like Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and 3 combo pack for the Switch? Love to be able to play that on a handheld. And because that's a way better than just having the sort of there was like a similar, there was Assassin's Creed on the Vita, but it ran really badly and it wasn't the same one that was the one that was on the console. I think they should tap into the backlogs of publishers and get like a Mass Effect, or the last of the Watch Dogs and and on all those sort of games, AAA games that were maybe on the 360 and the PS3, and probably might be a bit easier for those guys to port than breaking their backs trying to get something new to run. I think that'd be great. I would rebuy, some of those classic games to be able to play them on something that's basically a handheld. And then maybe when you had it in the dock and it could boost up the graphics, you would get better graphics than you would have got. I mean, Red Dead Redemption. Imagine getting the Switch version. And then when you put it in the dock for the TV, it would be a 1080p version of Red Dead Redemption. It wouldn't. It would be a bit better than the 360. Maybe it'd run at 60 FPS. That'd be wicked. And I guess you could sell it to Rockstar and say, hey, it'll be money for old rope for you guys buying this stuff from CEX and that bloody PlayNation Games. You're not getting any money from that. I'm trying to take sales away from you, Stu. In fact, you better sell the Switch version if they made one.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think that'd be appealing.
I've got some news to tell you. Do you know, you watch Lazy Game Reviews, LGR?
Of course, yes.
Yeah. Well, last night he did a video where he was saying he's made some socks in a wood grain effect, and I bought a pair. He loves that
wood grain effect. He loves that wood grain effect.
Yeah, and I bought a pair.
What are you going to do? You're just going to wear the socks and be like, yeah, I'm
going to wear them.
I've got LGR socks.
I've got my LGR socks on.
I always thought his appeal would be a bit more limited than a lot of the YouTubers because it's mostly PC stuff that he does.
Yeah, he's so interesting though.
But
I started watching his food channel as well now.
He did a video of his. I thought that was his house where all this junk was, and he just lived in basically a cesspit of PC game boxes, which I would be quite happy to live. Well, I'm kind of making our flat into that a little bit, much to the annoyance of my girlfriend, maybe. But so he's got like 2 storage units and his house, and then and he thought that was really odd that people would think that was like really, you've got 2 storage units? I'm just like, yeah, what? Doesn't everybody?
From watching that video, it was almost like I think he felt that it was taking over his whole life. And I can imagine that he's got his little office at home where he does a little bit of stuff and then goes to do to the storage units and does his videos there. But when he gets home, his living room has got nothing to do with games. He just lays on the sofa, watches a good film, and just forgets about.
Understandable.
So it's almost like 9 o'clock, right? I'm going to go to work, and that's going to the storage units. Making videos and doing all that good stuff.
And he can separate his work life, his work from general life.
Exactly, and I think from what he was saying, people gave him a bit of a hard time about it, and I was like, well, I understand his point of view, and I don't think for a moment I'd like to be surrounded in one room, filled to the ceiling with computer games, and all I do is make videos on computer games and research computer games. Great. It sounds sort of quite good, but actually, I'd rather.
I think it's great. I mean, he's obsessed with The Sims, which is great because a lot of people turn their nose up to The Sims. And he plays every expansion pack and does them all. But I can relate to that. You probably can as well because we really like football games, and not in the sense of we just get the odd FIFA, which is probably where most of the people that play a football game get it from. I mean, we get all the FIFAs every year. We've probably kept the old ones and go back to them. We buy old PlayStation 1 football games, Mega Drive. We're kind of into the history of it and like to go back to the old ones. And we get Pro Evo as well. They're both football games. And like me buying, Japanese variations of those football games because they're kind of quirky. And I was playing on the PlayStation 2 J League 2010, Winning 11 J League World J League Championship 2010. Because it's literally, it is. It's Pro Evo 2010, but it's just the Japanese J League. There's no other teams, and you can just play. You just play a campaign, and also would never come out over here. But that's kind of similar to Clint with the Sims. He just play. I think they're his favourite games, but that's cool. And
no problems. I like that. He's great.
Right, you know what? I think we've outstayed our welcome on this podcast today.
I think we have.
I think we've covered everything we want to talk about with the Wii U. I'm sure we're going to go back to the GameCube.
I think because that's a great one. Yeah,
there's more to say about that than we wanted to say in this, and I think we'll be doing that. I can give a little sneak peek of our next show next week. You think that's pushing it?
I think, yeah, go for it.
So we might have Ollie back on, Ollie Harper, next week, who's already been on a couple of times. It's great getting Ollie on, isn't it, Stu?
It's good, yeah, no, real nice guy. I actually watched his video yesterday, and he got a really good arcade stick from AliExpress in China. And I went on there, and I thought, I want to buy one, but I'm a bit short of money at the moment. But I will get one because it looked really good.
It's like a big unit, isn't it? That you can put actual arcade boards in it, and it's just like the joystick that plugs in the telly.
Jammer. It basically comes with a cartridge that has all the games on, and so it's basically like running on the original hardware. But
he does a review of it, so people should check that out.
What social media networks, Trevor, can you find us on?
Let me think. Is it MySpace?
Well, yeah, we're on Bebo, MySpace.
Yeah, I think that's just those two, isn't it?
Yeah, we're on
the main one.
What's that really old one?
Craigslist. Actually, no, that's American, isn't it? It's still actively used, but yeah.
Right, I'll tell you what you can find us on then.
Is it Facebook?
Facebook.
Yay!
Console Shop.
The shop of a console. Twitter.
We're not on Twitter.
We keep saying that, don't we?
Yeah, no, we're not on Twitter. We are on YouTube though.
The Tube of the Ubes.
Console Shop on there. And then we're also on iTunes. You can find us on there. Stitcher. You can find us on there. I won't do the grinder joke. I did that last week.
Consoleshop.net.
Yes, consoleshop.net. Our actual website. And yeah, that's it.
Right,
really.
Plenty of fish. Yeah.
Plenty of fish.
Right, so I've been Trev, you've been Stu. Go and see, go visit Play Nation Games, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Croydon. And keep an eye on YouTube and Facebook. We'll probably be back again next week. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you, buddy. See you, guys.